Hey, Marcus Washington, MTC Media. So, when I was growing up, just like a lot of people who are growing up my age, probably the first sport you played, at least where I was from, was soccer. Soccer at the time being was the biggest youth sport in America. It just never translated after you got to, a certain age. So then, kids would break off into other sports and, soccer generally would lose all of its athletes. And, not to date myself, the big professional league in this country was the NASL. Had Giorgio Canaglia, Pele played in it for 15 minutes, had Johan Cruyff, like the whole kit and caboodle. Actually, the first time I ever went to RFK Stadium was for a soccer game and not for a football game. It was the Washington Diplomats against the New England team, and I can still remember that day. It was drizzling outside, like kit and caboodle. It was one of those childhood memories that seems to stick with you. And I bring up soccer because as I got older and played other sports, played football and then football and basketball, and then eventually only basketball, I kind of got away from soccer, except during World Cups and World Cup qualifiers. I kind of got away from it. And as I got older and the European leagues started becoming more accessible to Americans, whether it was through selected games being showed, certainly it's not what it is today, where you can see almost every game. But for us, it was the Bundesliga. You could go to channel, it was either channel 53 or channel 56. I think it was channel 56 here in the DC area. And you could watch a truncated Bundesliga game. And that's kind of like how I kept up with the sports in the non-FIFA years. So what I did find out is as I got older, Americans became more sophisticated with how they watch the game, their understanding of the game. And what it did is it caused a chasm of people who kind of grew up like me, who didn't kind of keep our clutches to the sport, and people who really, really, really dove into the sport, all the nuances of it, and rightfully so, saying, the typical American does not understand this. They don't understand the sport because they don't understand all these little nuances and these things that are being done and why they are being done and da da da. Absolutely, positively fair criticism. But still, around those every 4 years for the World Cup, Americans would want to parachute in. And then, you're American. You're going to parachute in, and dadgummit, when you come in there, you are the expert. And, luckily, again, we've gotten to a time where, even though there is still some of that, there is enough soccer, European soccer, domestic soccer, the whole kit and caboodle that's being shown in America, where people can really delve into it. Plus the internet, again, it's such a different world. Someone that I grew up with, his younger sister, Allison Cooney, she is one of these ones that anytime I have a soccer question, whether it's something with someone on our national teams, I always know I can go to her and reach out to her because I know she's one of the ones. She's like really, really into it. And this is all to say, this is one of the biggest issues with the NBA. And it's another example of it happened recently with Tony Allen. When Tony Allen essentially said, I don't see Cooper Flagg as a generational player. I see him like Andre Karolinko. And I will say this, for all you people who got offended about it, that obviously does not know what AK-47 did in this league, please just don't say anything else. Andre Karolinko was he was a beast. Was he a generational player? No. But let's not act like Andre Karolinko was some sort of throwing cat either. I mean, that bug put in some work, so, but people who want to parachute in, which is a lot of times a lot of college basketball people who don't follow NBA, who don't consume the NBA, who don't know the nuances of the NBA. They don't know anything about the NBA except for what they like to complain about the NBA. So, just like the soccer thing. My take on Cooper Flagg has been the same thing from the beginning, which is because I cover a lot of college basketball. I have over the years, and I've been doing that for 16 years now. Over the years, I have not only met a myriad of college coaches, college assistant coaches, ADs, blah, 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 but also NBA personnel, NBA scouts and stuff. And yes, there are a handful of scouts that I do communicate with regularly. And what I've always found is what the person who covers college basketball, the Jeff Goodmans, the John Rothsteins, a lot of times how they feel like a college player will translate to the NBA is different from the people who actually work in the NBA. So generally I will default to the people who actually work in the NBA. That's their job. They get paid for player evaluation and what skill sets are transferable to their environment, as opposed to doing what a lot of college people on TV do. Oh, this person is going to be great in the NBA. If it's not, that tells you what's wrong with the NBA. No, it just tells me that you're wrong, or you didn't really give it enough thought. So my thing about Cooper Flagg has always been the same, which is this. Is Cooper Flagg going to be very good in the NBA? Absolutely. I don't think that's a controversial statement. Is Cooper Flagg going to be a generational person in the NBA? I don't know. Because when I speak to NBA people, that is not a given. It is not a given that he's going to be some sort of generational talent. I think all of them acknowledge he's going to be good, and there's certain levels of good that they feel like he's going to be. But as far as just making this proclamation that he's a generational player, there's no uniformity from the NBA people I've spoken to who have said that. And so that's why I've always leaned on. So the people who are parachuting in now are going to be disappointed once the NBA season gets here, because the Dallas Mavericks won the lottery, which means which means Cooper Flagg is going to a team similar to what Reed Sheppard went through last year, which is you're going to a team that has expectations. This is not going to a team that's building. So your role will be different. Dallas, whether you like this or not, whether you agree with Nico Harrison or not, Dallas is not looking for Cooper Flagg to come in there and save the franchise. That's not going to be his role. They want to hold down the fort until Kyrie gets back, where they're fully healthy, where they can have Flagg, Davis, Irving as their main guys to work around a really good supporting cast when they're allowed to be a supporting cast. They have 2 rim protectors. They have wing 3 and D guys. They're pretty good. They are pretty good as far as how they are constructed on paper. So if you're tuning in for Cooper Flagg in the NBA and you want to make it all about Cooper Flagg, you're probably going to be disappointed. Now, if he went to the Wizards, that would be a little bit different if he went to the Wizards, because the Wizards are at a point in their build/rebuild where he would probably be leveraged more. Just like you saw their other draft picks and how they're being leveraged more. But that's not where he went. Like I said, that's not where Reed Sheppard went. That's why when everyone was screaming and yelling about Reed Sheppard, remember when all the college guys tell you that Reed Sheppard was going to be NBA Rookie of the Year? Reed Sheppard wasn't even in the rotation, because that's a team with expectations. That's a team that wasn't looking for Reed Sheppards of the world to save the franchise. And Dallas isn't going to look for Cooper Flagg to save the franchise. Now, he is their future. I don't think anyone doubts that. And there will come a time, whether Nico Harrison is there or not, where that team is going to be built around Cooper Flagg. It is. Now, whether that's going to end up being a championship team or not, so on and so forth, don't know. But Cooper Flagg is not coming in this league and being LeBron James. I hate to crush feelings, but if you thought that this was what it was going to be, you were sadly mistaken. Sadly mistaken. And the only people who think that are the people who want to parachute into the league to propagate their narrative and agenda. Same thing that's happened to Caitlin Clark. The WNBA deserves better. Caitlin Clark deserves better than what's happening now. Because it just gets caught up into all these other people's agenda, man, and it ceases being about basketball. The young lady has talent. Get this. Each year, the WNBA's talent level goes up and up and up and up and up. It's not just Caitlin Clark and everyone else. But people get in their way so much, you don't get a chance to see that. Because people have parachuted in. Here's my agenda. Here's my narrative. And you ruin it. And my thing is people want to do the same thing with Cooper Flagg. They want to be able to parachute in with their agendas and their narratives and then ruin everything else and make it about everything else except for basketball. And that's what I'm saying. When it comes to the NBA and WNBA, parachuters are ruining the sport. Just like years ago, the people who were really, truly into soccer felt the same way. And all the people who feel that way, you're right. Parachuters are ruining things. And yes, soccer back then deserved better. The WNBA deserves better. And whatever happens with the Dallas Mavericks and stuff like that, because I already know I'm going to hear some stupid stuff from people as soon as Cooper Flagg isn't out there being used the same way he was used at Duke. Well, look what he did at Duke. This isn't Duke. This isn't Duke. Do I think he's going to be successful? Absolutely. And this is the other thing I tell people this all the time. This is the best thing that ever happened to Cooper Flagg. Because now less eyes on the floor is going to be on you. You're playing aside Anthony Davis. You're playing beside Kyrie when he gets healthy. You can't have 6 eyes on you. Not with those guys on the floor with you. You can't have 6 eyes on you. You probably have 2 eyes on you. Well, now that creates space. It creates lanes. Now some of the individual talents that Cooper Flagg has that gets everyone excited. There you go. Now you're going to be able to see those things because those other 2 guys are on the team. But this is not going to be, oh my God, Cooper Flagg's so great. All the other people around him, they're scrubs and this and that, and he needs more help. That's not going to be the case. And it just shocks me that some of you all who claim to be Cooper Flagg fans want that scenario so bad. You want that scenario so bad that you're disappointed that Dallas won the lottery, because now it's like, oh, this is not going to be the Cooper Flagg show. It's just a whole bunch of people hustling backwards. But yeah, parachuters, y'all ruining the sport.